Thanks very much, Denver, for stealing my speech. Thanks, though, to Denver and your team for inviting me to be part of this. And I'd like to start by just acknowledging the traditional owners of the land and pay my respect to elders past and present. Could I just acknowledge the staff at the WACA who really drove the formal arrangement we have with Inclusion Solutions. When they first came to me and talked to me about it, I went, yeah, okay, I had no idea really. And then as it went along and I understood it more, I thought what a fantastic opportunity for us to really partner with someone so we can really understand inclusion in the way we need to deliver programs to make everybody feel included. So thanks to people from the WACA, and just a shout out to Quinns Rock Cricket Club, who amazing club, do a lot of good work in the community, and congratulations, Club of the Year. I think they'll be Club of the Year for the next 10 years. You know, a great example for other clubs in the state. Just a bit about my background. I grew up playing cricket. I joined my first cricket club when I was 12. I became a volunteer at 14. I played club cricket for 30 years, and I was lucky enough within that period to play cricket for Australia for 11 years. So quite blessed in a lot of ways. And when you're doing something you love, you don't necessarily pay attention to how people are treating you or whether you're not being included in things. What I did recognise the moment I turned up to a club at age 12, and strangely, I am quite old, so that was a very long time ago, how long ago we were wearing culottes. And if you don't know what culottes is, that is a very long time ago. It was unusual to have a female cricket team in your local area, and I was just lucky we did, and my mother arranged for me to go down and join it. What I noticed immediately was that I was with people who were doing what I wanted to do, which was to play Australia's national sport. I never knew that was going to be an opportunity. I'd always played in the street with boys. I didn't know girls could do it. I was the youngest at 12, there was a 13-year-old, and then they jumped up to being 21 and older. So it wasn't a group of people who you would normally think would get together and play a game of cricket. But from the moment I did it, I loved being part of something that was more important than me, that was part of people who wanted to enjoy the things I wanted to enjoy. And it's been a lifelong passion of mine since then to, you know, when people ask me why do I do what I do, part of it is to try and give other people the joy I've got from playing a game that I loved. But what I did realise, it was the early 70s, and it was unusual for people to see women playing. There was a lot of women playing, but they were very well spread out, and it wasn't common, and there was certainly not much coverage of it. So, you know, we were often belittled when we came across men's teams or men saw us play, and then there was, you know, often let's call it banter, but really abuse from sidelines as cars went past or stopped and watched. And that, as I moved up the ranks and got involved in state cricket administration and then national cricket administration, you got to understand how excluded you were, not just from being asked to make coffee and things like that, but by not being heard, to what you achieved in the game not being as relevant as what they achieved in the game. And things like that, you sort of think you're always battling for acceptance. That was harder when I realised I was gay as well, so it was the double whammy. You know, you're all the time trying to work out, well, how am I going to fit in? So as I got more influence in my chosen profession, which is sports administration, I thought, well, I've got to make sure that any organisation I'm part of is inclusive. Now, I didn't know the word inclusive. I just wanted to make people feel welcome. And so any environment I have, whether it was a purely girls' environment, because I worked for a long time just in women's cricket, it was to make sure every girl that came into that environment had a good experience, no matter what their background, where they came from, so forth and so forth. At Cricket New South Wales, I got the opportunity to be head of the Commercial Marketing and Communications Department. And so very subtly, women started appearing in marketing campaigns, at functions, presenting awards, so forth and so forth. I didn't want to do it in an overt way because then you have to answer questions. I wanted to do it in a way that it was normal. You just do it and then people accept it and there's no question about it. Coming to the WACA, which I will, without hesitation, saying is the most chauvinistic boys' club I ever been in when I first arrived. And that's a lifetime of growing up in men's environments. So a nice challenge. I remember the day I found out that our women's team rarely trained at the WACA ground, and on the odd occasions they were allowed to come to the ground to train. The physio wasn't allowed to access the rehab rooms. They had to treat the girls at the nets because it wasn't their stuff. So little things like that, you go, that's just insane. So I set about ensuring that we were a community inclusive environment. Sport's job, in my opinion, is to reflect the community, the whole community, not just a privileged section of the community. You can't turn those things around overnight, but you can turn the thinking around overnight. And it is a change in thinking. I've been in enough rooms in cricket where we talk about girls' competitions, and we're in a very different framework today than we were even in 5 years ago. I would sit around the CEO's table at the Cricket Australia. They didn't even know there was an International Women's Day, let alone knowing why there would be one. And so it was talking to them about, they would talk to me like women were aliens. I don't know what to do with them. What do we do? What happens when a girl comes to a club? You sort of go, oh my goodness. It was talking to them about, this is not a money issue. Inclusion is not about money. Inclusion is about a change of thought patterns and thinking about how you can include people, not how you exclude people. Now, people don't deliberately exclude people, they just don't think about them. And I was only talking to someone today about one of the football clubs who used the expression of, if we put money in there, it takes money away from the senior men's team. It doesn't take money away from anything. There is enough money to go around. There is enough resources to go away. It's about the choice we make about where we place those resources and that money at any time. And we've got to make sure when we're doing these things that they're sustainable and that they are going to live beyond the people that are there. That the strategies and the plans are not the passion of one person. And that's why when you're a leader of an organisation, it's important for you to be buying into that and then leading it. I'm very proud of what we do at the WACA now. Our women's program is leading the country. We're the only one, this is quite embarrassing, we're the only state in Australia that has a strategic plan for women's involvements. That's true, Joe, isn't it? I didn't make that up. Yeah. And so we've done that because I've spent 25 or 30 years passionately pushing the women's game, and if I leave, it stops. And I wasn't going to have that happen at the WACA. It's got to live beyond my tenure. We run an integrated cricket league now with various cricket clubs where they're integrating these programs into their clubs. So it's not just a program that's at the WACA for 4 weeks at some point and then there's no connection. It is an ongoing program within clubs, and we're looking to grow that. We have state teams for our intellectually disabled, deaf and hard of hearing, vision impaired, and we are developing the programs to help support them. We run every year a Governor's 11 versus Lord's Taverners 11, where we bring everybody from our inclusions programs together with people from our mainstream programs to play in a match where the Governor is the lead for one team and Lord's Taverners back the other team. And it is a fantastic experience for the players who are in our Warriors squad and in our Fury squad to captain those teams and work with these people. And it's always on the WACA, and we make a big deal of that. And the next phase we're going in is to make sure that we become a disability employer as well. And we're working with agencies who work with people with a disability to match them up with the jobs we may have that are suitable to them. Because we want our staff to be seeing the people that we want cricket to be available for in our office every day as well. It's not easy in the sense that you have to have a culture that allows you to do that. And I'm really proud of our community cricket team who lead that and have driven so many of our programs. But it's so important that sport leads in these areas. The moment sport, I mean, we're all familiar with what's happening in rugby over East, and it's an absolute disgrace. You know, we use religious freedom as a way of just being able to spread hate, if you like. My opinion, it might not be others, but you can have your religious beliefs, but you shouldn't impose them on others and judge others because of it. And we need to stand up, and I hope Raylene Castle, as head of rugby, is able to fight the lawyers to take action on that issue. And we all need to keep doing that. We all need to fight for inclusion, because I think most people think inclusion is about disadvantage, disabilities and whatever. Inclusion is about what every human being needs. Needs to feel connected, needs to feel included, needs to feel part of something bigger than themselves. So thanks very much for listening to me today, and enjoy the rest of the night.